Hi everybody, we're back to Monday Musings. I hope you all had some great holidays. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We're going to do Alcohol Inks Part 2, 2.0. I know that some of you that have been following the blog for a long time have seen me do some alcohol ink ceramic tiles before, and I made a few more today that I want to share with you. And what it is I'm using Ranger's Adirondack alcohol ink, and I know there are some other brands, but Ranger is the brand that I have, and I have several sitting around, several colors. I've got their whole line except for a few of the new ones. I've got an applicator, Tim Holtz applicator, with some felt on the pad. Let's take that one off. That's a used one. And I'll put a new one on. You can buy a container of about 20 or 25 of these, or you can get a 19-cent 9x12 piece of felt and cut your own squares. It's up to you. And they both work equally. So the first tile I want to show you is an unglazed tile. It's got lots of pock marks. It's got holes. It's absorbent. And that's the one that I used for this. And I used Stream and Sunset Orange. I used complementary colors here, these two, on this. And then I did something that I always like to do, and I used this stamp with with embossing powder. Let's start that over. I stamped it with embossing ink. I used either the Distress embossing ink or the Versamark. And then I poured black embossing powder over it. On this one I used the Black Glint from Wow, so it's a little bit sparkly. And then I used another stamp under here that says Prayer Changes Everything. And I got that from, let's see, this is the stamp set. It's a Recollection, so that's a Myers brand. Michael's brand, I cannot speak today. And it's quite an inspirational set. Let me put that one back in. But one thing I wanted to show you, that with this absorbent kind, it really soaks in the alcohol ink, and it also is a little bit difficult to do detailed stamps on it. As a matter of fact, I first used, down in this corner, I first used this stamp, but I couldn't see the detail because of the holes in the absorbency. So you want to choose your stamps wisely when doing this. These make nice coasters. When I finish these, I'm going to spray them with a fixative, it's a matte finish made by DecoArt. It's a spray matte finish, and then you can use them for coasters. You can also use ice resin. Depends on how glossy or how hard or how thick you want your coating, but you do need to put something over this as a finish to protect it. Okay, another one that I did, and this is another stamp from the set that I just showed you. It's this one. And this one came through really nicely because I used this on a glazed ceramic tile. 4x4, they're like a quarter each at Menards or Lowe's, any hardware store, any home remodeling store. And I did this the same way. I used Pesto, Stream, and Willow. There's 3 different greens, and one of them is sort of a turquoise. And that came out really pretty. I like that color combination really well. And you can tell that your stamp embosses a lot clearer, nicer on this glazed tile, so keep that in mind. Again, finish this off with a hard finish, and you can use it as a coaster. Or you can sit it on an easel and gift it to someone to set on an easel. Okay. I made this one, and I kept it to show you that you have to really be willing to invest some time in your embossing. I used this stamp, and I used this stamp, and they're really nice. I used it on a glaze tile. The colors I used were Cool Berry, Willow, Raspberry, and Silver Metallic. You can see that. But here's the deal. I used Primary Bark regular embossing powder by Wow, but I don't think that it was the powder. I used these same inks. I think it was My Patience. When you are embossing a tile, it's a thick thing, a thick surface. It's cool. It's porcelain. It's a cool by nature piece of material. You have to be willing to wait until your heat gun gets warm enough, gets hot enough, and then the tile also has to be hot in order for the embossing powder to melt. And I thought that it was melted, and I picked it up and I rubbed it to see if it was going to make sure that it was melted and dry, and it was not. So half of my script right here and part of the art rubbed off because my powder was not melted. Now this makes it kind of an interesting tile. I'm okay with that, but I really would have liked for all of my script to be there. You know, you can, make this, if you want a worn looking surface, you got one. Just don't melt it completely. But if you want it to come through clearly, you've got to invest some time. You've got to invest at least 3 minutes in the warming up of your gun, your heat gun, and your tile, and then a full investment of about 10 minutes to completely melt this. You've got to watch it closely. You've got to sit right down on top of it and watch it closely. Watch the texture and the color change. It will change to a shiny, it will change to a melted look, it will brighten up, it will raise up. You've got to see that change before you stop heating, or you're going to end up with half of it there and half of it not. Okay? Okay, so here's another one that I just finished. And I used those greens again. I used Pesto, Citrus, and Stream. I used Citrus instead of Willow, which is a little more of a lime green. And then I also added some Sunshine Yellow to it to brighten it up. And my stamp that I used is this one. And I thought this was really pretty. It really stamps well. I'm trying to see maybe who manufactures it. Oh, this is a Inkadinkado stamp. Okay, it's I think it's a year or two old. You may be able to find, but you can find others, or you can find something in your stash that's like that. And so I embossed my butterfly on it. I missed a little bit of the ink right here, so it's a little bit unfinished. But I don't really mind that. It's okay. I like anomalies like that. And the embossing powder I used for that one, I'm trying to find it here. Everything is stacked up next to me. Okay, well, not important. Any black embossing powder will work. But it was a regular, like a detail type of embossing powder. It doesn't have the glint in it. It's not the distress, because those have release crystals. I wanted the detail. As you can see, that there's some really fine lines here, and they came very nicely. And I would say that this one took me between 10 and 15 minutes to emboss. Now there's some really interesting texture here, because I believe there must have been something on the tile before I started, although I did take my little resin powder bag and wipe it off first. But there's something sticking to the tiles, and I put ink over these areas several times, and they became smaller, but they still separated. So I just kind of went with it, and I thought, okay, that's fine. To me, that looks like a butterfly flying through some trees, and this is the separation and the sky between the trees. So I'm happy with that. So let's go ahead and do one. And one reason I'm doing these again is that, you know, it's something nice to do after Christmas. It's quick, it's easy. You can. There's a Facebook page called Alcohol Ink Artists, where people really do some very, very detailed paintings with their alcohol inks. I haven't got into that yet, so I'm really just in the stage of dropping it and spreading it and see what happens and just go with the texture. But if you're interested in going farther with this, then I urge you to go on Facebook and find the Alcohol Ink Artists page and join it. You find some beautiful work there. So, but I am showing you something that's a little bit added to what I've always done before, and that's called torching. So I have one of these lighters. It's like a grill lighter, and we're going to use that. So first I'm going to take my resin bag and I'm going to wipe it off, because this gets any of the oils away from the tile that were on my fingers. And I have my applicator. So I really like the colors that I used on this butterfly, so I'm going to use those colors again. So the first one is Pesto, and it's sitting here somewhere. There it is. And I'm just going to put a few drops here and there. The next one is Stream. This is like a teal blue. It's a greenish blue, but there's more blue than green in it. Citrus, then for my lime green for my highlight areas. And my Sunshine Yellow. Gotta find it. Here it is. Okay. So I'm just going to turn this over and begin to pounce on my tile. Pouncing gives you texture. You don't want to slide it. That's not interesting. You make a mistake, you can just pounce right back over top of it. Notice, though, that once I pounce it on there, it begins to spread on the slick tile. On the unglazed tiles, it doesn't spread as much. You just have to pounce all over, and it kind of stays where you put it. So as you can see, this is beginning to move. And also, I haven't done it today, but I also want to encourage you to pounce and color the sides of your tiles to give a more finished look. It only takes a couple of minutes to do. Okay, so I've got some places here that are still white and light that kind of need some color in them. The more you pounce, the more it's going to change. Look at this.